Okay. Hello. Hi, nice to see you guys. Yeah, so the construction machines went a bit late today, so they have stopped now. And yay for that. My goodness. My brain is exploding, but good to see you all. I I wanted to do the field trip video today of Tricia, but of course she has hi boss lady. Hi Billie Jean. Hi Little Whiskers. Yeah, we have a troll, Lori. She was here the other day accusing me of using Tricia. So, I assume that she is a Websleuths fan. And I don't know. She didn't seem to have much of an argument, except that she said I was using Tricia and that I was a sad person. So, not a lot of depth to that argument, but yeah, so I wanted to do the field trips video, but she has hidden all those videos or made them private or done something with them, so they are currently gone. Hi Elizabeth. So the only way to watch them is to watch them with someone who has already watched them. So I went through Jolene. Shout out to Jolene. She's done really so much work with this, and good on her. Her channel is just a proper delight. She's very funny, and part of the reason that she is as funny as she is because she's really smart and she makes connections very quickly, and she's able to be off the cuff. And she's very good. But to watch, so if we wanted to actually watch that video and then comment on it at the same time, it's all full of Jolene's commentary. And there's nothing wrong with Jolene's commentary. She's very funny and she's very good and she's very on point. But there's a lot of it because she's also quite irrepressible. So what I did was I thought I would try out a I'm sure a lot of you know True Crime Loser. And what he normally does is he watches a video, albeit it's usually a video of an interrogation. And he takes notes, and then he just comes on in a very lo-fi way and tells you what his impressions were of the video that he watched. So I thought I would try that and see how we got on with that. I also have a lot of, there's a lot of documents from the court case. So for people who maybe don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but the court case that she was involved in 2013, 2014, where the person that she sold half of Websleuths to sued her for her incredibly bad behavior. And there is a lot of documents. There's a lot of discovery. There's the oral deposition of both parties. There's kind of a lot to go through with all of that, and each bit of it is more revealing than the last bit about what our Patricia has been up to. And it seems like she has been involving herself in this kind of extremely suspect behavior for a long time, for over a decade. We are well into the second decade of this kind of scammy behavior with supporters. So kudos again to Jolene and everybody else who has done all the breaking news work on this. I'm a little bit behind the curve, but I'd like to go through it bit by bit because I prefer to have my own impressions of things than to necessarily rely on somebody else's. So yeah, it's alarming, right? It's another one of those. I think it's on a par with, if not worse than, the behavior of Lauren and John Matthias. Certainly on a par with. This kind of scammy behavior is, I mean, it's part of the reason why for most of my life I never was particularly interested in true crime, because I always felt that it was so sensationalized in the news and in the, the people seemed like the people who made the documentaries or wrote the books was always very, it seemed like shock value was the sort of the name of the game. And I'm not kind of interested in true crime for that. I am more interested in the actual justice aspect of it and the consequences and the accountability. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very hard to think of what she might have done to Christine. I agree with it. Sorry, I'm responding to things without saying what I'm responding to. Boss Lady is saying, I'm thinking Tricia might be worse than Lauren. I think, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's hard to compare necessarily, but I do think that, I mean, Lauren and John were attempting to put Christina in jail. I mean, she has children at home, and she didn't break any laws. So that's like, to my mind, that's crazy. Like those real world consequences are enormous, and Christina is presumably still facing some of the consequences of that. I mean, I have not Googled her to find out, but I could guess that if you did, all of this stuff is going to come out, you know. So yeah, but also, you know, it seems like from, you know, I haven't read all of these documents myself yet, but it seems from what Jolene is talking about that this has been going on for a long time, and she's been screwing people to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars, supporters, you know, of Websleuths, people who believe in her and think that she's here to help, right? And it's this pattern of again, of abuse and lack of accountability and trying to steer the narrative and, you know, attacking anyone who questions her version of things. She is, as quickly as anybody can respond to her live nonsense videos, she takes them down. So clearly she's spooked, and she's trying to control the narrative again. But yeah, I'm just appalled by all of it. I truly am. And you know, when you watch these videos with Tricia, she is, I mean, I never watched her long enough in the past to pick up on anything other than that I found her sort of boring and that I wasn't really getting anything out of the video. She just didn't seem like she had much going on that was particularly engaging. But if you watch for any length of time, it becomes very clear. Like the whole setup for this field trip video, apart from being just wildly unprofessional, like it's absolutely ridiculous. She starts out in her grubby little hole where she lives, I guess, and she starts out online there, and then she's like, okay, now I'm gonna go get in my car, so everybody hold on. And Stacy has to, like, you know, keep the air from being dead, and we all know how engaging Stacy is, right? So Stacy's like out there trying to come up with something to say while she's in, you know, getting out into her car, and then she's like, okay, I'm back, can you see me? And her phone's all crooked, and she's all driving through the night like a crazy person to this woman's house and yammering away. Like, what is even happening, right? Like, even that part of it is just off the wall. And I guess Jolene and other people have talked about her coming across as like she does this, you know, this weaponized incompetence and this play the dummy kind of thing. And I think there's a certain amount of truth in that. But I think that the reason why it is so effective for her is because she really is like that. She really is just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Again, I'm picking up all these things from Jolene because she's so on the money about this. Her behavior is just bizarre, and her viewers, the fact that, like, it seems like they're all right there with her, right? They feel like they're going on a stakeout, like they're all excited, they think they're solving true crime. They're out there, you know, I mean, they're sitting on their couches at home like the rest of us, but they feel like they're out there on an adventure solving a crime, right? And she put the, you know, she puts all this out there. Yeah, like that silly aunt, that's exactly it. Yeah, she puts that out there, that's her shtick. But she kind of weaponizes this, "Oh, I'm just this silly person," but I think she genuinely is. It's very weird, it's all very weird. I mean, I never paid that much attention, but looking at it now, it all is very weird and suspect, and this whole her connection with Othram, which the way like I said the other day, "Oh, that she's associated with this charity or whatever," and that was literally based on, and I have to check myself, it was based on the way that she was presenting it. She makes it seem like it's a charity and that all these people are putting in these donations to this charity. But she's getting paid by them, right, for everything that she does. So it's all very hinky and disgusting. And there's one of Jolene's recent videos, there's they are interviewing some guy from Othram that is from the DNA, what's it called? DNA Saves or DNA, whatever it is, the branch of Othram that does the DNA testing. And again, it was just this very weird and unprofessional, awkward person who just was sort of saying catchphrases rather than seeming to have any real deep, um, you know, attachment to his subject, right? It's all about saying the right words to get the right donations. And that seems to be the entirety of what Tricia has going for her, right? Yeah. That I think it works well for her, Billie Jean, because she really is that daft, but I also think that I think she's sly, definitely, and she plays on that for sure, but I think there's some genuine, like, she doesn't strike me as super competent in any particular area other than scamming. Yeah, I don't care for her. I never cared for her either, but I never had this kind of I just didn't look any deeper. I didn't look any deeper, right? So anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna try this. I have no idea how it's gonna go, but I'm just gonna read off the notes that I wrote. Most like she is such a kooky weirdo, and everything she says is so strange, and so clearly designed to create a narrative that I wrote literally almost every single thing that she said down, almost verbatim, almost all of it. So it's quite long. We'll see how we get on. If it's boring or it's not working out, we'll move on to looking at some documents. So this was March 18th. This field trip video is on from March 18th. The field trip wasn't March 18th. Jolene's video was March 18th. Okay, so she's worried that the reason that she's going over there is because she's worried that people are watching the house. Right? She's setting up this narrative of this big mystery and these people, these nefarious people that are trying to, get in and get stuff, right? Which, I mean, it sounds exactly to me like what she's doing. And she says, we started researching and we found documents that prove hardcore fraud, up to 7 figures. So this is a big deal, right? She's like showing us that they're uncovering this, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like she's taking her viewers along on this journey, and they all think that they're helping this uncover this fraud. So they uncovered all this hardcore evidence that's now in the hands of the authorities. The proper authorities have it. And I can tell you this much, I can't tell you much, but I can tell you this much. Somebody desperately wants this phone. So she's like she does this throughout, this lack of specificity. It's right. It's the hardcore fraud in the 7 digits. It's now in the hands of the proper authorities, but there's no specifics about what is the evidence, who are the authorities, like what right or business do you have looking into any of this? What authority do you have? And then she goes on to say that, this person who desperately wants this phone. Hi, Ruth Ann. Watching you grandbabies. Hi, grandbabies. Twin grandbabies, no less. Then she says what they don't understand, the people who desperately want the phone, what they don't understand is that the phone doesn't matter anymore because all of the evidence that these people are seeking has now been removed from the phone. So there's no point in them even searching for it anymore. And then she says about the be me, about that text. She says, I don't really believe it was an afterlife thing. And then she mentions again that Beth B was a researcher for a major company, and now she's arrived, right? This is all the talk while she's driving. And then she pulls up in front of the house, and she's shocked to find there's a car parked right out front. And she says this like she's just discovered made some amazing discovery that there's a car parked out front. And Ephraim, I'm going to pull right up behind him, she said. She's not taking any guff from any of these people who are there to watch the house. So she's not scared of them. And she wants them to see her, so maybe they'll be scared off, right? They'll see that somebody is here and somebody's taking care of things, and they won't come and try to steal things from the house. I guess that's what she's implying, right? She doesn't say that, but she's implying that they're up to no good. And then the dude in the car gives her the finger, and then she realizes sort of belatedly that the reason he's giving her the finger is because she's blasting her high beams in his face. And then when he gets out of his car she goes, I'm just going to sit here for a minute because I want to make sure that he goes in the house. I want to make sure that he goes in somewhere. So she's now like the neighborhood watch over at Beth B's house, keeping an eye on who's coming and who's going. It's pretty exciting. Yeah, she's a crazy person. Hi, Shirley Graff. Nice to see you. So then she brings up, so in the background, we have Stacy occasionally grunting or chiming in a little bit, but not that much so far. Until Tricia says, she brings up people saying that she sent the mystery text, right? So in case you don't know, Tricia claims that she received a text from her friend Beth B's phone the day after Beth B passed away. And it's a mystery text that just said, be me. And there's no way it could ever have happened. She can't understand it. It's a huge mystery that they're trying to solve by searching out iPhone experts across the globe, to see if anybody can explain this mystery. While she has possession of Beth B's phone, and the only proof that she's offering you is showing you the text on her phone that came from Beth B's phone that she also has possession of. So just to keep you up to speed. So now she's bringing up, clearly people are like, that doesn't make sense. The phone that she stole. Yes, she stole the phone and the purse from the hospital. She got a phone call from the hospital saying that Beth B had passed. And then she rushed back to the hospital to get the phone and the purse after she passed away, before other people could come along and take care of things. She ran to the hospital and grabbed those things. And now the people that have the will and are her money manager or Beth B's money manager, those people are seeking the phone, and she's acting as though those people are engaged in sort of criminal activity. And she's not just behaving that way, she is taking it to the courts. So it's wild. Yeah. So she brings up people saying she sent the mystery text, and they're searching out all the iPhone experts in the whole world, and Stacy's piping up again with her. The iPhone model, it's so ancient, her iPhone model. It couldn't even schedule a text. It couldn't even do any of that stuff. So it's just this unsolvable mystery that can only be solved by it being a message from the grave, and yet they don't believe it's a message from the grave. So again, none of it makes sense. She reminds us of the hoot hoot sound that was the ringtone for Beth B, and claims that she nearly had a heart attack when the hoot hoot went off. It scared her practically to death. She nearly died from it. And I mean, Beth B hadn't even been able to text for 10 days, so even more mystery. I mean, it's just, yeah, she nearly died from surprise. So just so you know, I mean, although she very much appreciates the message from the other side, she also was a victim of the message from the other side, because she nearly died. She nearly died from that text. Okay, so then she explains to us, this is fun. It's wild that she's just putting all this out on the internet, and then people are like, what? And then she just locks it all up again, like she didn't realize this is insane. So she says she has changed Beth B's recovery phone number to her own phone number, so that if anybody tries to access the phone by getting, by Find My Phone or any of those other things, they won't be able to, because she has changed the number. And then ever since she changed the number, she keeps receiving, when you get those messages, the sign-in codes, she keeps getting those. And she attributes that to someone's trying to access Beth's iPad. So she's really, I don't know how to describe it exactly, because it's so crazy, but she seems to genuinely believe that she is, on the track of evildoers, and that she is showcasing for her audience her incredible sleuthing detective skills, and not that she's coming across as a complete lunatic who is inserting herself in the probate situation of someone with whom she has a parasocial relationship. Like, it's just, right, Elizabeth? Who in their right mind broadcasts all of this on YouTube, right? She's proud of it. She's loving it. This whole video goes on. I got like 20 pages of notes here. Maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but not much. It is wild. And my note that I wrote down to myself is the projection is off the charts here, because she's literally accusing Daphne, and I assume that it's her husband that is named with her in the court docs, because they have the same last name, of the exact things that she is doing. It is absolutely wild to watch. And then she's saying about, and again, like, so she likes, Patricia likes a little narrative, right? She likes a little story that can showcase the point that she wants you to, not so much the point that she wants you to take home. She wants to hide the point. She wants to sneak that point in. So she says, and this is a direct quote about Beth B, after saying, poor Beth B, that the thing that's so upsetting to her about all of this, hi, amazingly true, the most upsetting thing for her is how poor Beth B, and the direct quote, she thought she had everything lined up. She told me where everything was, and come to find out it wasn't. And that's the problem, right? So the story is poor Beth B being, her poor Beth B's final dying wishes are being thwarted by these evil people. The underlying message is, I am the rightful person to be doing this, and I am the person that Beth B trusted. She told me where everything was. And so that is why I now have the right and the legitimacy to be going and doing this. So that's the hidden message in poor Beth B. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. So then she launches into a story about, we're still on the phone here, and about all these nefarious evildoers and how they're all trying to do nefarious evil things, and they're trying to get the phone, and they're trying to get into the iPad, and they're trying to get all her information. So the next story is about she's at home, and she's got Ring cameras and everything, and so there's a doorbell ring, and it's a full 3 minutes. She says it's a full 3 minutes of somebody knocking and pounding and ringing the doorbell over and over for a full 3 minutes, which is quite long, actually. So and so she goes and she looks on the Ring camera, and there's a guy out there, and he's got a lanyard. He's got a lanyard, and his badge says Texas, and he's got a book bag, but the book bag is very suspicious because it's lumpy, and books are not lumpy. Books aren't lumpy. Tools are lumpy, though. So probably it's full of tools, because he's going to try to break into her house, or maybe he's going to attack her with those tools. Something is up with this guy. And then this is another direct quote. Suddenly he stops and literally jumps in his car and takes off. Suddenly he stops and literally jumps in his car and takes off. So yeah, I think clearly she's trying to sell this as something. And then she's completely affronted because he has no license plate, or she claims that he has no license plate on the front of his vehicle, and that in Texas that's not legal. So obviously this is super sketch. I mean, we've got a lumpy book bag, we've got a lanyard, people. 3 full minutes, right? So thankfully, Stacy's son was able to figure out that the Texas lanyard tag was from the Texas Department of Insurance. And so in case anybody's worried, just so you know, Tricia did make a report. She did call the police to make a report of aggressive doorbell ringing. Those are her words. She did call the police. And she told them about they told her that, yes, official agencies in Texas have to wear a lanyard with their agency ID. So she got that information. So good sleuthing. Good sleuthing. Very good. So yeah. And then the son did some sleuthing, Stacy's son, and apparently it was the insurance, Department of Insurance. So now they're like, oh, okay, they're doing an investigation. Now but she doesn't think it's a real investigation. She thinks that it's somebody faking an investigation to try to get the phone, that they're going to come over and say that they need the phone to do the investigation. And so Stacy called the Department of Insurance. Like, these people I have never seen them do any investigating of any kind before. They certainly didn't investigate any of Lauren's claims, but they are pulling out all the stops for this one. Stacy called the Texas Department of Insurance, and they assured her that any agent knocking on their door for any reason would definitely 100% leave a card or a letter to explain their visit. So that is the strangest part of all. Yeah. Oh, no, that's not the strangest part of all. Oh, my God, I can't believe I forgot the strangest part of all. My God, I'm clearly not getting enough sleep. So the strangest part of all, this is so scary, people. Like, I can't even believe that Tricia and Stacy are still willing to be putting themselves out there publicly because of how scary this is. So Tricia went back to her Ring camera to have an extra double careful look at the guy to make sure that she, in case she needed to recognize him in the future. And she's looking at the phone and she's staring at it. And then she suddenly realizes, because the whole time that he was ringing her doorbell, he was looking at his phone the whole time. And then, so she's like, what is he looking at on his phone? So she goes back to look, and it turned out, it looks like she thinks it is a picture of her son on his phone. And so then she sends the picture. She takes a still shot from the Ring camera. She is detectiving it up, boys and girls. And she sends that still shot to her son. And she just sends it to him. She doesn't explain anything. She just sends it, and with no explanation. And his response, this is word for word what he said. He said, why does that dude have a pic of me from high school? Like, oh my God, people. Chills. Yeah. So yeah, then we were treated to, she's like, what the hell is going on? I don't understand. I just don't know what is going on. Like, this is just so crazy. She is in the middle of a genuine mystery involving messages from the dead, evildoers who are sending fake insurance agents with lumpy book bags to her house. They have pictures of her son from high school. I mean, I am personally, I am amazed that she had the guts to go out and do this field trip after all of that. She was prepared to go and face these monsters. Stacy then pipes up again with some more information from the Department of Insurance. Says the only reasons that they would come would be to check for damage if there was some kind of a hurricane or something, or to investigate fraud. So, not sure what that tells us, but it's good to know. Oh, also, if they were investigating frauds, it would be detective. And then she has, I would love it if you could actually, if somebody would phone up the insurance Department of Insurance in Texas and find out if these people actually phoned and all this. But apparently this insurance department operator said to Stacy that she herself believed that it was someone impersonating a Department of Insurance, officer. So, she gave Stacy this fraud squad info, and Stacy did not follow up with that. So, just to say, Stacy ends that with, yeah, that's where we are now. But now it's like it's late at the end of the day and it's nighttime and they're out on this field trip, and they have done no follow-up to find out if this person really was a fraudster coming to try to attack them with their lumpy book bag. But they're prepared to go out on a field trip to face these fraudsters head on. So, I mean, all I can say is thank God it was all on Ribbit. Thank God it was all on film, because, I mean, anything could have happened. Anything could have happened to Tricia while she was out there. Yeah. So they I mean, they give the caveat. We can't say for sure that it's connected to this, but it's just odd. And I'm like, yeah. Connected to what? Connected to you stealing a dead woman's phone and withholding it from the dead woman's money manager who has possession of her financial documents. It's so weird. I can't figure out what's going on, she says. Like, I believe that each one of us here has figured out what's going on in the first 5 seconds of this entire story. So this whole narrative, I mean, it's wild to me. This is what I think about, like, how she's got 50,000 subscribers. I mean, presumably they don't watch her. They don't all watch her or whatever, but she's probably got the diehards that are there 3 or 4 nights a week. And it doesn't seem like any of them were sort of pushing back on this, right? They're all just hook, line, and sinker with the idea that, Beth B, that her estate needs to be protected and that Tricia is the person to do it. There doesn't seem to be any pushback at all. And then she says there's an even bigger woo-woo. The woo-woo is the be me text. But then she never identifies what it is, but she says that she needs someone who understands iPhones because the experts I spoke to, I mean, they say they're experts. They say there's no way that what I claim happened. So I gotta figure it out. She's just like, hey. Oh, sorry, I'm going backwards. I gotta go to the wrong page. Over here on this page. Sorry, how are people doing? Is this okay? Are people bored? Oh, yeah. These are verbatim quotes. So she is at this point, like, she is out of her car. I'm forgetting to keep y'all up with the action. Hi, Jules. She's out of her car. She's got a big flashlight. These little shots up here on the screen, those are pictures of her shining the flashlight at the fence and at the gate and going, oh, good, there's a padlock. Oh, good, you see that? There's a good padlock. Oh, good, I'm glad to see that there's a padlock on there. So she's walking around the house, shining a flashlight on the fence throughout this time. And so earlier, we're harking back to, remember, she at the beginning, she said that they found what did she say? That they found the documents that prove the hardcore fraud up to 7 figures. Okay, so now we're back on that. And she says, when I showed the lawyer my evidence, he said to me a couple of times that this is bigger than the both of us, so get ready. And then she goes, whatever that means. Like, you didn't ask the lawyer what that meant while you had him, like, on the blower there? You didn't think to ask? Or maybe it was in person because she was showing him the docs. Anyway. So yeah, she thinks it's big, right? This is big. And she says, I'm trying to decide who's going to play Stacy and who's going to play her son. And clearly she means in the movie of the story of the crime of the century that Tricia has uncovered over at Beth B's house. A big part of the crime of the century appears to be that someone has mowed the lawn. So look forward to that. So, and then again with the Beth B, right? So again with the secret message. So the poor Beth B, this is verbatim, she didn't want any of this. She thought everything was set up nice. She didn't want to bother anybody. That was her big thing. And Stacy says, oh yeah, she would not be happy. So the unspoken message here is that we are just concerned about Beth B. We know Beth B so well that we can speak for her. The message isn't just like, poor Beth B, this isn't what she wanted. the hidden message in all of that is that Stacy and thingy here, Tricia, are these amazing people who are just out here. I mean, we've had so much evidence already, like they just want justice for people, and they are now putting their money where their mouth is, and they are going out with flashlights and shining those flashlights on fences. So, yeah. Anyway, I find it really enraging that they claim to speak for her when there is no way for any of us to find out what Beth B really wanted, apart from her will, in which she states her feelings very clearly. But and she says, I know what she would do, right? She knows what Beth B would do. And that's exactly what I'm doing. That's what Beth B would do. But if she were here, she would say, don't worry, move on. But she's a big fat hypocrite, because she would not do that herself. So that whole little exchange there was quite funny, because she talked herself. She first of all said that Beth would do exactly what she was doing. Hi, Jim. And then she turned around and said that actually if she was here, she wouldn't do this. She would say, don't do that. But then she realized that she just talked herself out of the importance of her giant flashlight and, her high beams and taking down license plate numbers of people who live across the street from Beth B. So she has to quickly get herself out of that. And it's very, very obvious that that's what just has happened. And I continue to be amazed by how much people who are her supporters are willing to fill in the blanks for her and just go, oh, she just misspoke, or she just whatever, and not actually see through the truth of all this, right? Jules says, my theory is that the neighbors told Daphne that Tricia kept sniffing around, so she had the locks changed. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Literally everything that's happening here is 100% projection. She is doing every single thing that she is claiming that these people are doing with zero proof. She's claiming that these other people are doing it and she has no proof of it, but she's showing us, she is advertising across the internet the proof of her shenanigans. It is, lack of self-awareness. Anyone? I bless her for being so unaware, because this is how we can, call these people out and get them. Although, you know what, she has been called out. She's been taken to court. She has been cut down to size so many times, and she just keeps going. She's the ever ready bunny grifter. Ooh, I'm going to need to use that. Okay. So yeah, Beth B would if the situation was reversed and I was the one who was gone and she was discovering this, she wouldn't rest until it was figured out. Right? That's what Beth B would do. And so she's just honoring her friend. Yeah, self-snitching like a complete imbecile. It's just like she can't help herself. It's the same with Lauren. They can't help themselves. They can't, because their brains don't function like our brains. They just don't. Hi, Mary O'Neill. Hey, Mary, I just wanted to say, look at this, Mary. I'm holding it up to the camera if you can see it. It's a book of poetry from my public library by Mary Oliver. And I haven't had a chance to get into it yet, but on Mary's recommendation, I got that book. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so Beth wouldn't rest. Beth B would not rest until this was figured out. So I don't know what will happen, but I'm just glad that what we found is in the right hands, the appropriate hands, she says. The appropriate hands. So she doesn't tell us what she found, and she doesn't tell us whose hands are the appropriate ones. But you can rest assured that Tricia's word is all you need. So we're just waiting to see what will happen. Maybe nothing. I just don't know, she says. But, like on the last page, she was telling us all about how the lawyer looked at the evidence and said that this is bigger than the both of us. So, she's a loon. She's just a proper loon. And then she says, I know I'm speaking in tongues here. And she's not speaking in tongues. She's speaking in code, but she's not even really speaking in code. She's just speaking in vagueness. But I wish I could tell you more. I wish I could tell you more, but I can't. It's just, everything is very touch and go at the moment, right? So she's giving us as much info as she can, but she's not saying her life's in danger. I am saying somebody really wants this phone. But, again, right? She already erased all of the information off the phone. She already gave all the important information to the authorities. So anybody who's going to come and kill her for that phone, they're going to be wasting their time. Yeah, no, so she's going back to the house with the flashlight. Oh, yeah, she went around the house. Now she went up back to her car. Now she's going back again to the house. She's got her big flashlight. She's worried that the neighbors are going to call the cops, which is actually the first intelligent thing I've heard her say since the whole thing started. And then she says, I need to take a picture of this car with my other phone. So make of that what you will. So now she's taking pictures of the neighbors' cars, the people who were neighbors to Beth B while she lived. Tricia is out there taking pictures of their cars and making insinuations to the internet that she needs to do that because there's something suspicious about them. I suspect that if she wanted Tricia to have money, she could have made arrangements for that to happen. I mean, you hear her talking about, it's all muddling together in my head when I heard her say these things, but I heard her talking about like going over there and going over to Beth B's house and staying overnight, insisting on staying overnight. And Beth B would get so mad, but she didn't want me to stay, but I would just stay anyway. And she's like, she tells this like it's a funny story or whatever, but it's actually really menacing behavior, right? This is an elder woman. She's in her 80s. She lives alone. And she's asking this person to leave, and they're not leaving, right? I suspect that she suspected what Tricia was up to. Yeah. I mean, but did she leave? No, she did not leave. She is a terrifying villain, in my opinion. She's that kind of person that you think that, when the light shines on her and she gets properly called out, that she could turn extremely, extremely ugly. Yeah. So yeah, she's out there taking pictures with her other phone of the neighbors, of Beth B's neighbors. Because she's, again, I feel like also like a part of this is to showcase to her audience, right? She's trying to showcase to her audience her sleuthing skills and try to like make herself seem like she's really savvy and she's like, on the job kind of thing. And they're falling for it, right? The comments that they're leaving are making it clear that they're falling for it. Right? Oh, be careful out there, Tricia. That kind of stuff. And like comments about, oh, I feel like I've been on a real stakeout and things like that. Like these people are eating this up and making their donations, you know, and keeping the whole Websleuths lie alive. So somebody in the audience asks, why does someone want the phone? And she answers, this person took all of Beth B's everything. He took iPads, just basically took everything. And she kept telling me, I need that phone. And I said, I lost it. Right? So that's when she started getting all the texts and everything, because now the person is trying to find the phone, because they're like, okay, if she lost the phone, maybe we can use the Find My Phone app to find the phone, right? And she says, now at the time, I thought she had the legal right to everything, and she didn't. And well, she delivers all of that in this really weird halting tone where she realizes that she has just admitted that she kept the phone away from somebody who she believed had the legal right to have it. And she says, I was giving her everything, but it's a long story. She says, like, oh my God, like she's just so overwhelmed by all the information and all the moving parts, right? Like she's trying to get out of the fact that she literally just admitted that Daphne has a legal right to access that phone. And instead of giving it to her, she has lied and said that she lost it. And so Stacy jumps in, and she says, yeah, we thought everything was kosher. And Trish goes, yeah, that it was all done properly and everything was handled. And she kept saying she needed the phone because hers was broken. And like, so now she's saying that Daphne is saying she needs that phone because because she needs a phone herself and she's going to use it as her own personal phone. And Stacy's like, yeah, like she would need that super old iPhone. Like Super Sleuth Stacy is on the case, and she has figured out, you know, that they would never want this old iPhone for themselves, even though Beth B had it, and I believe Daphne is also in her 80s and would probably be perfectly happy with an older model iPhone. And I don't necessarily believe that Daphne said anything about using it as her personal phone. This could all just be a complete pack of lies. I believe that most of it is, other than I stole the phone and the purse and I lied about it and hid them from the people who had rightful access to it. I think everything else is basically lies. Then she explains how Daphne's trying to find Beth's phone with the Find My Phone app, and Trish pretends it's not working, right? Because she says she's lost it. Well, I had it, but now I've lost it. So she's got Daphne on the phone, and Daphne's well, I'll do the Find My Phone thing, and then it should make up sound, right? So if it's in the house, you'll be able to find it. And so she just keeps going, nope, I can't hear it. Nope, sorry. Like she's messing with these people in real time and telling lies about having possession of this woman's phone. It is just, I don't know if it's criminal, but it is extremely unethical. And it is bizarre to me that her followers are all on her side and like think that she's fighting the good fight here. Like, even if there was something squirrely going on with Daphne, none of what Tricia is doing is okay. None of it. So, yeah. So she says that eventually she put the phone in her car. And then Stacy pipes up again, right? So Stacy seems to be there. Stacy's role in all of this seems to be to save Tricia from her stupid self, because she's constantly putting her foot in it and admitting to ridiculous nonsense. And then Stacy will jump in and kind of paper over things or lay some foundation to make it look like it's not as bad as it was. So she pipes up here. She says, yeah, this was just all about preserving Beth's stuff to make sure that her wishes were done. Like, I know it looks, she doesn't say it, but it's basically like, holy smokes, she's at least seems to be aware of how bad this looks, right? So she has to try to offer some kind of, you know, palatable version of events that people can swallow, because it's very obvious. And she reiterates how Tricia believed everything was above board, but then things got increasingly strange, right? Like at first they were just like going along like, oh yeah, this is all perfectly normal, and then it's just things just started to look weird, but they never give any evidence of what was it that started to look strange, right? There's never any, it's all very vague, and we're all supposed to take her word for it, is basically the situation, right? So then they both go on for a while about how Tricia didn't want to believe it. She didn't want to believe it, right? She didn't want to believe that Daphne was behaving in this underhanded manner, right? Like it was just, they were just going along, and like they just kept saying to themselves, no, this couldn't possibly be what's happening. But eventually just the evidence just came out. Became so clear. She just keeps saying, I can't believe this is happening. I don't want to get them in trouble. I don't think they're doing anything horrible, but you know, she thought the estate was in order. She just like, it's all just so confusing. And as the evidence was coming out and she was realizing, you know, and this is all after she has admitted literally to like zipping back to the hospital as quick as possible to get the phone and the purse, the minute she heard that Beth B had passed. So like I'm even curious about like when Beth B went into hospital and how much Tricia kind of inserted herself there, you know what I mean? Like how able was Beth B once she was in hospital, how able was she to speak for herself? And was Tricia putting herself in there, you know, and claiming the right to speak on Beth's behalf to the staff at the hospital, right? So that she could have access to those things, right? So that she could spirit away these extremely important items. Like, I mean, how much could she, if she had access to that phone, right? She could have access to God knows what. Anyway, it's just all very appalling throughout the whole thing. Like all of this insanely, seriously suspect and unethical and disgusting behavior is going on, but the kind of soundtrack to it all is Tricia's kind of batty old lady, incompetent, shining the flashlight in her own eyes. Oh my God, I flashed myself. Kind of like, you know what I mean? Like this is the background to all of this, is her like with her giant flashlight and her phone turned around the wrong way. And like, I mean, in some ways, I have to say that it is unintentionally brilliant content, because it is so gobsmacking to watch it unfold that it's incredible. It's incredible content. It's again, it's the narcissist gold. It's the grifter gold. But none of the people that are watching it unironically or whatever, like the content is terrible. It's actually terrible. So it's really, I don't know, to my mind, it's just really wild to watch. Sorry, let me just get back to where I was here. Yeah, so she says, I think that this person, so obviously just another human, hello. I think that this other person is obviously Daphne. So she says, I think that this person may have realized what we could find on that phone. Yeah, like we all figured that out the minute you fucking stole it, Tricia. Are you like this? These are the comments that she makes where I'm like, is she being canny here? Or is she just being a daft numpty? Like, I just can't tell. And so that a viewer question, Stacy puts up a viewer question about Daphne. Is Daphne, maybe Daphne's watching? And you should be careful what you say, because if Daphne's watching, she could find out the secrets of your investigation. And Stacy says, no, very adamantly, no, she's not watching. She says, this made me laugh. Stacy says, no, she actually thinks Tricia's an idiot. I was like, oh, okay, so Daphne's, yeah, so probably Daphne's cool then, based on the fact that she's realized that Tricia's an idiot. I'm gonna go with that. And she also says that she has no idea what Tricia does for work. And then Tricia pipes up all of a sudden, and she goes, I can tell you that the phone is no longer in the car, because she suddenly realized that she's telling all her secrets all over the interwebs, and maybe Daphne is watching. So, all of her viewers are not sleeping, but yeah. So that just seemed very clear to me that she just suddenly realized. Yeah, I can tell you that much. That was a while ago. The phone's not out in the car anymore. That was a while ago. And if she does watch me, good, she should. Guess what? You didn't fool anybody. And she starts talking shit about Daphne. Like, she starts talking directly to Daphne. Which, again, like, Daphne has done zero wrong in this. And this person who is presenting herself on the internet as someone who is deeply and profoundly victim and justice centered is over here smearing a person that all of us can easily find the name and address of if we bother to take the time, because it's going to help her in her grift. And it's like, yeah, it's comedy gold, narcissist gold YouTube content, but at the same time, Daphne and her husband are real people who live in a real house in a real town and are being exposed to many, many, many thousands of people by Tricia. And I mean, people who are covering Tricia are also talking about them, but not in such a way that would make anybody want to go out and, maybe get revenge on them for something, right? So this behavior on behalf of Tricia is not only suspect, to my mind, it's, she's doxing these elderly people in an effort to discredit them so that she can get her hands on the money of a subscriber. Like, oh, I didn't give her the boot, or maybe I didn't give her the boot. She can come over here and call me an idiot. I guess I don't think she's going to hang around very much. It was a drive-by, right? She did it before she did it at like 3:00 or something, and the live stream wasn't even scheduled for another hour. So it was just like, it must have come up on her feed because she was over here the other day watching my video and telling me what a sad person I am. So anyway, yes, I find all of this extremely yeah, it's concerning. It's beyond just being like, oh, these people are scammers and grifters, and these are real people that they're hurting, right? Real people that they're putting at risk here. Real people that they're stealing from. And it just gets worse, right? When you get into the documents from her court case with Susan Pruitt, who bought half of Websleuths off her in 2011 or whatever it was. That whole partnership ended up in court within 2 years. That's who this is, right? Yeah. Anyway, so the phone is no longer in the car. She's talking to Daphne. Good. You didn't fool anybody. I hope you're watching. You're not fooling anybody. You're a terrible person. You're trying to rip off Beth B kind of stuff. And then she goes back to talking to us. She has no idea what idea. She has no idea the people around me and how many people I have around me. I'm not alone. I'm not afraid. Like, now, Daphne, the octogenarian money manager of the deceased Beth B, needs to, like, she's literally implying that these people are threatening her well-being. I feel threatened. I wish I had a soundboard, right? For all of the Laurenisms that we could apply here. She is implying that these people are threatening her and that she needs to have her heavies around her to protect her while she fights the good fight. And she's literally scamming retirees for tens of thousands of dollars. That's who this person is. It's absolutely vile. I am seriously thinking, like, that YouTube needs to have more awareness of the content creators that are using their platform to grift people. I'm so appalled by this kind of behavior. I was watching Docket Decoder's video about JLR as well, who I had never heard of, and was absolutely disgusted to learn about. But I just feel like they need to have some kind of a reporting system where they can weed out these basically criminal creators over here that are using their platform, as a jumping off point for robbing innocent people. It's, oh God. I think about what Lauren did to Christina, and I still, like, it still makes me furious whenever I think about it. Yeah. I mean, I find it rewarding to see that Lauren seems to be absolutely coming apart at the seams, since all of this, but it's not enough. She needs to be off the platform. And I feel the same way about Tricia and Stacy, and I I feel like I am going to expend more effort on making that happen. See if there are ways to get in touch with people at YouTube and get something started that will address this stuff. I don't know. Yeah, so Tricia, I'm not alone, and Stacy, yeah, and there's so many copies, and people are aware now, so people know. So, basically, lots of people have it, Tricia says. So it wouldn't even matter if they got the phone, because now, here's the thing, if they didn't do anything wrong, like, what did they have to worry about, right? Like, just disgusting behavior. I just can't even. And she goes, but you hear what we found? And then she leaves a dramatic pause. It is unbelievable. Right? But we never are going to find out what they found, because they never found anything. And as this plays out, it becomes very clear that they didn't find anything. This is all straight up pack of lies made up to defame Daphne and steal from Beth B's estate. I don't see that there is any other way that you can look at this. Giving, in the light most favorable to the web sleuth, this is absolutely egregious behavior, and I can't even get over it. So anyway, Yeah, so she tells, when you hear what we found, it's unbelievable. And then she tells us a big long story about when she told the attorney. He was like, oh my God, look at my arm. And she was like, what? And he's like, look at my arm. Look at my arm. And then she was like, oh my God. And he was like, chills, chills. And he goes, we never ever get stuff like this, ever. I have chills. You just can't get away with this stuff. This is what she's putting out there. Her attorney has chills at the level of 7-figure fraud that the nasty Daphne is up to. And it's just a pack of lies. And anybody with an ounce of anything could find these people. Just as a passing note, she has an extremely large stuffed penguin seat belted into the front passenger seat of her car. I couldn't say the reason why, except that maybe she's trying to intimidate people by having them, just people know she's not alone, right? She has a stuffed penguin. I have a stuffed penguin, some porch cats, so look out. I can't help doing the Tricia voice because I've been watching Jolene, and I got to tell you, her Tricia voice is chef's kiss. She does an amazing job of it, and she does a readout of the deposition in the Tricia voice, and it's amazing. She's very funny, but yeah, I can't not do it because I blame Jolene. Yeah. So the attorney got chills. She decides it's time to go, but she wants to do a drive-by one more time just to make sure that guy doesn't come out after she leaves, right? So she's on to him, right? Because she knows that as soon as she drives away, he's gonna come out and do his nefarious deeds. But she's on to him, so she's gonna leave, but she's gonna circle around. She's gonna come back, catch him. She's gonna catch him in the act. That guy, she's gonna catch him. He saw me leave, she says. He probably lives here. Like, yeah, he probably lives there. You're acting like a complete jackass. But he sat in that car for a long time, and that bothers me. So I'm just gonna go around the block again, catch him out. She talks to herself while she's driving, blah, blah, blah. She hasn't got anything more to say, like, why is she still taping? She's just driving now. Then she goes, I can't wait to tell you guys more. I can't wait. It's just such an amazing story. It's so amazing, and I can't, but it's so crazy. Oh, my God. And Stacy says, it's been a ride so far, trying to figure that out. And Tricia said, we knew something was up, but we didn't know what. And when we found what we found, it was appalling. Stacy says, yeah, so bad. It was so bad. Swamp Stacy, as Jolene calls her. And then Stacy says, the worst part is there's other people, and then something unintelligible. And then Tricia goes, it just breaks my heart to think of Beth B and what she would think if she were here and she saw this. It's just so sad. My God, and probably Beth B is there, right? Because, she's sending messages from beyond the grave. She's probably just, I'm pretty sure that her immortal soul is just taking up residence inside the stuffed penguin for the short term. She's keeping an eye. Beppy. Yeah. So we knew something was up, but we didn't know what. Oh my God. Breaks my heart. I can't imagine how betrayed she would feel, Tricia. It would be unbelievable. They riff off each other for a bit about how unbelievable it all is and how upsetting and everything is. And then she says there's funny parts. I don't really know why that's funny, but she says, oh, There's so much. These people are so weird. Oh my God, they're so weird. So she says they had an estate sale before anybody had any rights to the estate. How could they do that? So she goes up to the estate sale guy. She's a sleuth. Not sure if you guys are aware. She's a web sleuth. So she's been doing quite a bit of sleuthing. And one of the things she sleuthed out was she went up to the estate sale. She went to the estate sale and she posed. She posed as someone. She pretended, right? She poses as a person who's wanting to do an estate sale. And so she asks him, right? Because she doesn't have the Google at her house. So she asks the guy, the estate guy, what authority, what piece of paper do I need to have to get the authority to have an estate sale, right? She's trying to trip him up. She's trying to trip it up. And he just freaks out. He freaked out. Oh my God, he freaked out. He started making all these excuses and, so he knew that it wasn't on the up and up. He knew that he didn't have any right to be there. But apparently that's the end of the story. She did not then call him out or anything. Why are you acting so strange? Who are you anyway? What right do you have to be here? Like, she didn't do any of that. She just posed as somebody and she got him to reveal himself by freaking out and making excuses. So, I mean, who knows who this person was? Who knows? I am going to go ahead and assume, and I mean, I could obviously be wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that Beth B's money manager, the person who was in possession of her will, arranged for the estate sale and hired somebody to take care of it. And the person who was hired to take care of it didn't know anything about Websleuths or me or messages from beyond the grave or anything like that. Obviously, I wasn't there and I don't know. But just being like I would just love to be a fly on the wall in some of these situations that Tricia describes. And then she starts talking about, so like her big concern is that people are gonna break into Beth B's house and start tearing the wires and the copper piping out of the walls. And that she saw, I don't know, this part was not clear, but she was talking about boxes of electronics and thank God my friend who found out went over and thwarted them, but it's a little bit unclear what friend and found out what and thwarted them from what. None of it's clear, but she does make it sound like they are there to kind of keep an eye on this situation while they're waiting for the proper authorities to come in and arrest the evildoers or whatever. And that ever since the friend went over and thwarted them, again, this is not clear, there hasn't been a problem. She's also like, she noticed when she was over there with their flashlight, she noticed that they mowed the lawn, and she's like, yeah, it's good that they mowed the lawn so the place looks lived in. So she's like, yeah, just checking out, making sure everything's kosher over here. Good that you're doing that. Good. Keep doing the thing that you're already doing that has nothing to do with me, but I'm just giving it my approval from over here. I just wish I could get the electricity turned on again, she says. But the good thing that came out of this, people, what the good thing is that came out of this is that Tricia went and got her will done up, and it is solid. So, when she passes away and one of her subscribers is trying to grift all her money, she won't get grifted because she's got a solid will. So at this point, she hasn't really talked about the will. She's just implying that the will is not solid, right? And then she's in her car. And then she goes, I have a lot of shit, and then she starts listing off all the stuff that she has, like all of the things that she owns that are now in her very solid will. Can you guys see me okay? She's driving her little car. Her phone is falling over. All you can see is her shoulder. And Stacy's like, people are asking about the electricity. And Tricia's like, I have to prove that I'm there or that I have power of attorney or something. That's what I can't figure out. And I'm like, yeah, for a sleuth. I mean, come on. I'm not a sleuth. And I know that the power of attorney dies with the person. So having a power of attorney would not help you here. And to me, it's evidence of the fact that you're not actually looking into anything, because if you had looked into anything, somebody would have already told you that a power of attorney is useless in this situation, and is only good as long as the person over whom you have that power of attorney is still alive. So, and she says, I think there must have been some documents of some sort, fraudulent documents to have that happened. So she's now accusing Daphne of fraudulently contacting the electrical people and having the electricity shut off. And then she talks about how her home security is really great and how she sleeps with a light on and she sleeps with a gun under her pillow because apparently she thinks all people are coming to get her. People are coming to get her because of her staunch support of the doing the right thing for Beth B. And then she starts speculating about the Texas Department of Insurance guy, that he was going to say they were doing an investigation into Beth's life insurance. She's just blah, blah. She's just blabbing about codes and Apple products. And she's now is anybody in the audience an iPhone expert? I really got to figure this out. I'll do whatever. I mean, I'll take a lie detector test, she says. I don't care. I'll do whatever. That scared the crap out of me. I'll do whatever I have to prove it. Like, really? Who exactly do you think is going to go to all the trouble of setting up a lie detector test for this? Like, it's just so insane. And then she tells us all what a good driver she is and how she keeps both her hands on the steering wheel. And I just thought of Rain Man. Like, I'm an excellent driver. My dad lets me drive the car. I'm an excellent driver, as he drives into the fire hydrant, which then spews water everywhere. So that's what I was picturing. More like she's talking about that lumpy book bag that really got on her nerves. That lumpy book bag, and she just thinks it's too much of a coincidence. It's too much of a coincidence that he showed up banging on her door like that, and then he just suddenly, literally jumped into his car and tore off. It's just too much of a coincidence. At least she didn't say it was ironic. I will give it to her. More discussions of the text message logistics and the logic of the content. Like, if you were going to fake it, you'd say something like, hey, it's me. I'm here in the other world and it's so beautiful and I'm so happy. Like, these people are experts in text messages from beyond the grave. They know that content of that text is suspicious, and yet they can't seem to make up their mind whether they want to believe the text is this woo-woo from beyond the grave miracle, or they want to prove the science behind it. But I think there was some talk of the science behind it being that woo-woo stuff is all real. We just don't, kind of like the idea that, like, we used to think that the air was empty, and then we realized that it's, like, full of all these invisible gases that we just can't see. So, yeah. And then she says she's dying for some sour gummy worms. And then somebody in the the chat says maybe be me was the autocorrect. Maybe she was trying to put in Beth B, but it autocorrected to be me. But Trish thinks that's brilliant. She says she thinks that's brilliant, but I don't get the impression that she thought that that was brilliant, because I think that she likes the be me message, because getting a message from Beth B saying be me means that what Beth B wanted was for her to have all of Beth B's money so that she could carry on Beth B's legacy. So she's saying to the person who put in that comment that she thinks it's brilliant, but it's very clear from her demeanor that she doesn't like that interpretation. And Stacy says, it's good to ask other people what they think, just to get a different perspective. So, maybe on the surface that sounds reasonable. And then you remember that the topic that they are looking for a different perspective on is text messages from beyond the grave, and what the content of those text messages should or might be. And I don't think we need to get other people's perspectives on that when it's very clear that Tricia sent the message to herself. Anyway, so then she says, let me tell you about the iPad. The person that had it didn't even know how to turn it on, and I had to help them with that. They had no way to access the emails, but I helped them with that. And then so she's kind of then saying that the text could not possibly have come from the iPad that the other person had access to, because this is the whole reason she's telling us that, is to explain that that couldn't be a possible explanation for it, that the person who had the iPad sent this message, because she was so stupid she didn't even know how to turn it on. So obviously it came from the afterlife, people. God. Then she's like, I don't know, maybe, do you think that maybe the iPad is connected to the iPhone? Again, with the sleuthing. Like, yes, I do think that the iPad is connected to the iPhone. And if she had any other Apple products, those would also be connected, just like every single other person's who owns an Apple iProduct on the entire planet Earth. She's a web sleuth who apparently has no idea how to use the World Wide Web. So, yeah. There's another woo-woo I can't tell you right now. I've asked the iPhone people who say it's impossible. She's asked the iPhone people. I don't know who the iPhone people are. She's like, I can't figure it out, right? It's like, did you phone Apple? Did you phone Apple? Did you go to the mall? Hi, Michelle. Did you go to the mall where they have Apple stores where you can visit them? Did you go to your local computer repair store? She did not. I can't figure it out. Like, she did not a single thing to figure it out. She can't web or sleuth, right? Bad things. No, she cannot. She can neither web nor can she sleuth. I would be in agreement with that. And she's calling this other person a dummy. Like, it's just the projection is like, oh God, all of this would be just hilarious. And I mean, a lot of it is, and let's be fair, a lot of it is. But if it wasn't the story of what this insane person is up to in the pursuit of robbing her supporters. And then she talks more about the logistics of receiving the text. I've looked at all her texts and I've gone into all her emails. Confirms that she knows the phone code and how to get in there and everything. It's like admitting all her crimes, self-snitching all over the interwebs. Discussion of the cell towers. Like, I mean, we could check if the text came from the same cell tower, or even like, who does she think is gonna check all of this? Like, who does she think is going to celebrate her phone and Beth B's phone to find out the origin of the be me text when Patricia had access to both phones? I mean, who? I know people think I did it. I didn't do it. Why would I do it? Why would she do it? Yeah, and then the text that was basically the end. Then she goes into her house. I don't know if she doxed herself. I didn't look. It's very possible that she just had her phone filming her address and everything. But the very final text of their final, comment on the screen of the video was from Mims Angels 5 that says, "Best Thursday night in ages. Love watching YouTube, but never been on a stakeout before." So those are her. That's the response from her. Yeah, from her viewers. It's like, wow, this is really fun. We're on a real stakeout. We're solving crimes over here. Like, just exhausting. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't know if that was entertaining or not entertaining or what. I really wish she hadn't taken down the video because I would have liked to just respond to it. But it was just too much. It would just be too much for me to respond to it on top of Jolene's response. And that's the only place that we can access it. Somebody did suggest, I was over on Jolene's live for a bit, and somebody over there, Rombo, I can't remember the second half of Rombo, suggested that maybe the Wayback Machine would have it, but I don't know if she's just deleted it or privated it, so I'm not sure if that would work. But anyway, yeah, so I don't know if because it's the same, it's going to be the same situation for the second field trip video. And then there's another video that they put out. It wasn't that long ago. It was like 10 or 12 days ago. Where she talks about how Jolene and et al. Have kind of dug all this up and are kind of revealing all of this on their channels, and that their people are ruining her life or whatever. So then Jolene, streamed that and made fun of it and everything, and then she got rid of that as well. So she's getting rid of anything that anybody is responding to. So I'm not sure if people liked that. If you enjoyed it, I will carry on and do the other videos in the same way. I will watch Jolene's streaming of it and take notes and do it. I mean, I kind of had fun, but I'm just not sure if it's good content for you guys because I don't want to bore people to death. So yeah, that's that. And then I was thinking about, what time is it? Yeah, so I was thinking it's 5:45. I got a bit of time here. I was thinking that I would maybe do I would read the plaintiff's original petition in the court case, in the 2013 court case that between Susan Pruitt and Tricia, because it's not super duper long. I could be done in time to feed the dog. And yeah, but I also thought that I would just show you some pictures of the lawyers involved. So where am I? So this is, oh, I gotta remove the other one. Hang on, sorry. Remove that one. And that's this. So Ciro Sampiri is this is the guy that is, this was Thingy's lawyer. Sorry, Susan Pruitt's lawyer. Susan Pruitt and Websleuths are the plaintiffs, and Patricia was the defendant. And this was, Ciro Sampiri was Susan Pruitt's lawyer. And then hang on, I gotta add another one. Hang on, I'll show you a picture of over here. Let me go over here. This is Megan Hassan, who was Tricia's lawyer. This is now, like, this is current. So she went on to like be a judge in the 14th Circuit of Appeals Court and everything. So just to put some faces to the lawyers, because eventually I'm going to read out, I'm not going to do that today, but eventually I'm going to read out the depositions, because they're insane. Tricia's deposition is insane. It's insane. This whole court case. I'm sure a lot of you have seen a lot of this information. But it's still, I still want to go through it bit by bit, because I want to look at it myself. But yeah, as this stuff starts coming out, it is crazy. And I genuinely hope that Patricia is going to get some consequences for this, because my goodness. Yeah, okay, so plaintiffs, so Websleuths.com LLC and Susan Pruitt, plaintiffs, versus Patricia Arrington Griffith, defendant, in the Judicial District Court for Harris County, Texas. Plaintiff's original petition. Plaintiffs, Websleuths, LLC.com, and Susan Pruitt filed their original petition against defendant Patricia Arrington Griffith. Arrington, I gotta say, that's a cool name. As the basis for their claims against the defendant and in support of the plaintiffs assert and state the following. Part 1 discovery plan. All discovery in this case is to be conducted under level 3 of Texas blah 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 rule, and plaintiffs request the trial court to enter a discovery control plan for this case. Part 2, the parties. Plaintiff Websleuths LLC is a limited liability company organized and existing under the laws of the state of Texas and in good standing with the state of Texas. Plaintiff Susan Pruitt is an individual who resides in Harris County, Texas. Defendant Patricia Arrington Griffith is a resident of the state of Utah. Defendant Griffiths can be served with process in this proceeding pursuant to the Texas long arm statute. Cool. Service on defendant Griffith will be carried out by service on the Texas Secretary of State in accordance with blah, blah, blah. Notice to defendant Griffith by the Texas Secretary of State can be completed at defendant's mailing address. Subject matter jurisdiction. This court has subject matter jurisdiction over the claims asserted by the plaintiffs pursuant to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Texas. The amount in controversy is within the jurisdiction of this court. This court also has original and exclusive jurisdiction over the matters at issue in this proceeding pursuant to the provisions of Texas, blah, blah. Personal jurisdiction. This is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. The court also has personal jurisdiction over the defendant Griffith. Griffith has conducted business within the state of Texas, has negotiated and entered into contracts within the state of Texas, and has negotiated and agreed to obligations within the state of Texas with regard to the creation and operation of Plaintiff Websleuths LLC. Specifically, defendant Griffith made repeated representations via telephone and electronic communication to plaintiff Pruitt in an effort to induce Pruitt into investing in the business of Griffith. These negotiations eventually resulted in the consummation of a purchase contract, the formation of a new business entity in Texas, a promissory note payable by Griffith to Pruitt, various other commitments, much of which was to be performed by Griffith within the state of Texas. The specifics concerning those acts are described in greater detail hereafter. Yeah, one of the things that they start to describe is that Patricia didn't do a bunch of the things that she was supposed to do when she sold half of her business to Susan Pruitt. The claims asserted by plaintiffs in this proceeding relate directly to and arise from the actions of defendant Griffith directed toward and engaged within the state of Texas. In so doing, defendant Griffith has subjected herself to personal jurisdiction within the state of Texas as to each of the claims asserted by plaintiffs in this proceeding, and she is subject to the jurisdiction of this court. Good to know that she's subject to something. My God. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. The venue is proper in Harris County, Texas, and in this court, pursuant to section blah, blah, blah. Okay, factual background, history of the website. Websleuths.com is a website that defendant Griffith operated for a number of years as a sole proprietorship. The original purpose and intended function of the website is to serve as a centralized location where individuals can discuss and share information and leads concerning unresolved criminal cases. While the intent of the website is not to interfere in any manner with active police investigation, law enforcement departments and individual officers have used the website for assistance and leads in conducting their investigations. The operation of the website depends on certain dedicated servers with a vendor that provides access to and supports the operation of the servers. For the most part, the day-to-day maintenance and operation of the website depends on a technical volunteer and also various volunteers that are pre-screened to monitor and manage the postings to the website. The volunteers are the backbone of the operation, and they serve out of commitment to the effort without compensation. So they are a very nice contrast to our friend Tricia Griffith, who is all about the compensation and not at all about, well, she's committed to the effort of getting compensation, but she's not committed to the effort of helping victims of crime. I stand by that statement. She is here to enrich herself, full stop. Negotiation of sale agreement. Pruitt was one of the many supporters of the website and also of Griffith. During some of their communications, Griffith expressed to Pruitt various problems she was having in keeping the website up and running. All of those issues related to financial constraints. Dry begging, she's dry begging, because Susan Pruitt was one of her subscribers. That was at least, Pruitt donated in excess of $1,000 to Griffith toward the operation of the website. That was at least Pruitt's intent. As time passed and the financial difficulties recounted by Griffith to Pruitt continued unabated, Griffith inquired about Pruitt's willingness to invest and or purchase the operation of the website. Let's move up here, sorry. The sale and purchase agreement by and between Patricia Griffith, doing business as Websleuths, and Susan Pruitt was negotiated and executed on May 1st, 2011. So it's like 2 years, within 2 years they're in court. Under the terms of the agreement, Pruitt was to pay $11,000 to Griffith, and Griffith was to provide a bill of sale for 1/2 of all assets of the business operation, and that Griffith and Pruitt would thereafter assign their respective interests in the business, including all right to the website and the right to the use of Websleuths.com name exclusively to the new the new entity identified as Websleuths.com LLC, because now it's a limited liability company, right? Now it's a corporation. When it's I think she was just running it as a sole proprietor, right? So all the liability was hers, and now all the liability is with the corporation. They incorporated. So moving on. In accordance with the terms of the agreement, okay, I can't move on. The dog is getting all squirrely here, and I think he needs to go outside. So if you can bear with me, please hold just for a minute while I let the dog out. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm just going to leave the camera for a little second, but here we go. Okay, so in accordance with the terms of the agreement, Pruitt has paid the entire $11,000 purchase price to Griffith. However, Griffith has never signed and provided to Pruitt the bill of sale required at closing of the transaction, has never assigned her interest to Websleuths.com LLC, and has never relinquished personal control and operation of all assets critical to the operation of the business. So, yeah, big surprise there. Tricia negotiated in bad faith and then did not, after taking the money, which she probably immediately blew. She probably used it to pay off whatever debts she had accrued and then immediately blew the rest of it. Then she didn't want to give up. Now she got the money. She doesn't want to give up, but she said she would give up to get the money, right? She's like, she's all proprietary. This is my business. Seems to me, right? Like, what else could she be? Literally, what else could she be? It's literally like buying something on layaway and then not wanting to pay the bill later, right? You've taken the thing home and you've used it, and now you don't want to have to keep paying for it. What a nightmare human being. Just this, it is. It's literally, this is what Jolene was talking about, right? It's this pattern of this type of scammy behavior. And this is like, she signed legal papers, and then she didn't do what she agreed to do after signing her name to it, saying that she would do it. It's vile, disgusting behavior. I just can't. And she's over here pretending to be this sweet little old lady who's just out there for good. It's right up there with Lauren and her. I'm just a mom with a YouTube channel, and I'm just all victim centered, and I just care about people, and all these people are just being mean to me because they're so jealous of my success. I am genuinely gratified to see that Lauren is falling to pieces, because she deserves to fall to pieces after what she did. She deserves to, maybe she doesn't deserve to fall to pieces. What she deserves is to own up, apologize, put things right, make public apologies, and take her lumps. But since she's not going to do that, then what's going to happen is she's going to fall apart, and I'm here for it. If that's what she wants, fill your boots, Lauren. Anyway, carrying on. Griffith's violation of the agreement. Griffith failed to fulfill and comply with the agreement at the time the transaction closed, and in spite of repeated requests to do so, has still not completed her obligations under the terms of the agreement. In addition, Griffiths has continued a course of action and activities that are in direct violation of her representations and warranties under the terms of the agreement, and in violation of her fiduciary duty to the business venture and Websleuths.com LLC. Can you imagine this poor woman? I wonder how long it took before she realized what she'd gotten herself into. Griffith has continued to hold, operate, and utilize assets of the business venture in her own name or in the name of an alter ego, but always under her direction and control. In doing so, Griffith has taken action and conducted the operation of the business in a manner that serves her own interests to the harm and detriment of the business venture and plaintiffs. Specifically, Griffith has removed assets from the company in excess of $58,000. At the same time, no funds from the company have been paid to Pruitt, and Pruitt has not been refunded or reimbursed any of the funds she has put into the business to keep it in operation. In fact, while Griffith has withdrawn over $58,000 from the company account, Pruitt has had to expend additional funds and pay expenses on behalf of the company to keep the operation going. These funds were in excess of $10,000. Which included, but were not limited to, an acquisition of trademark, background checks on all staff, filing fees, and web service fees. So she's paying out of her own pocket to keep this going. Yeah, right? she's not here for the victims. It's absolutely appalling. It's absolutely appalling. Yeah, I would agree. She's never going to apologize. Yeah. None of these people will. They should still have to pay, though, and they should have to pay by being run out of town on a rail, in my opinion. In addition to improperly removing funds from the company account, Griffith has also acted improperly and to the detriment of plaintiffs by seeking funds from persons that volunteer their time in support of Websleuths LLC and the website. Specifically, Griffith has obtained loans and donations from a number of volunteers and members. Certain volunteers and members, with the understanding that they are acting in support of the company and the website, have donated and loaned significant amounts of funds to Griffith to be used by the company in support of the website. In spite of those representations to a number of volunteers, Griffith has repeatedly pocketed the money and used it for her own personal purposes and interests. Several volunteers have complained about such action by Griffiths, and Griffiths' wrongful action and intentional misrepresentations now jeopardize the business interests of the company and Pruitt. Pruitt has also been informed that Griffith has promised various volunteers that the funds will be repaid and has requested the volunteer to not report these transactions and activities to the company or Pruitt. Such actions by Griffith, in direct violation of the agreement and her obligations to Pruitt and the company, threaten plaintiffs with irreparable harm and injury. Little Whiskers, this is over. In the end, Apple's just knocked something on the floor and scared himself. In the end, they settled, and we don't know what happened. And I'm waiting for somebody to dig up. I don't know. Like, there's reams and reams and reams and reams of documents and everything, and they're getting all set to have to set a date for a jury trial. And I mean, I guess apparently I haven't gotten there yet, right? So I know things that I haven't seen with my own eyes yet, but apparently, so what happened was that Tricia and her lawyers started freaking out when it came to be like, this is going to be a jury trial. They were strenuously objecting to all of that. They did not want anything to do with a jury trial. And then somehow it ended up being settled. So I don't know if I guess the details of that settlement, they settled out of court, so the details are not public. And the way Tricia characterizes it, and I kind of kick myself in some ways for not having thought to look into this sooner, because I've heard her talk about it and say that, that trouble years ago when that person tried to steal Websleuths from me and all that. She characterized it as Susan Pruitt trying to steal Websleuths from her and her valiantly fighting the fight. And I believe there's even mention that that's when she got involved with Beth B. And Beth B., because she was like, see, I'm not alone. She just thought I was all by myself and I wouldn't be able to fight back. But I've got friends or whatever. So don't quote me on this, but I think that Beth B. was involved. Like, it goes back a ways that Beth B. was involved in helping to pay for her lawyers and getting her out of this hot water. And she now she now characterizes it as Susan Pruitt tried to steal her business from her. It's just, yeah, again, they shock the conscience, the behaviors of these people. Okay, so we're just about there. 2 more pages, 6, 7, 8, 3 more pages. In addition to the improper activities and self-dealing engaged in by Griffith with regard to the business venture and Websleuths.com LLC, Griffith has also used the proprietary and licensed name of Websleuths to advance her own interest. Big surprise there. You know that she thinks, that's mine. It's mine. She thinks of it as hers no matter what. Under the terms of the agreement, Websleuths.com LLC owns all rights to the Websleuths name. In spite of the express terms of the agreement, Griffith has continued to use the name to advance her personal reputation and financial interests in pursuing her personal business opportunities. Such activities include using the Websleuths name on radio broadcasts that are transmitted throughout the country, including within the state of Texas. Griffith has been instructed to discontinue the use of the Websleuths name in ventures that do not involve the company, but has refused to do so. Misuse and misapplication of the company name by Griffith for her own interests and financial gain has caused further irreparable harm to plaintiffs. Susan Pruitt had to one point get like rules of engagement drawn up for this company and forced Tricia to sign it. So to try to force her to behave ethically as regards the company. That's in here too. We'll get to that eventually. So yeah. Section 5, causes of action. As the basis for plaintiffs' claims and causes of action against Griffith, plaintiffs rely on and incorporate herein by reference each and all of the factual assertions set forth in Section 4, paragraphs 4.1 through 4.9 above. Breach of the agreement. Griffith has failed to fulfill her obligations enumerated in the agreement. She's accepted all of the funds advanced by Pruitt, while at the same time refusing and continuing to refuse to fulfill her obligation under the terms of the agreement. Such action and failure to act by Griffiths constitutes a breach of the agreement. Pruitt, as the signatory to the agreement, and Websleuths.com LLC, as the assignee of Pruitt, have sustained loss and injury as the result of the wrongful acts of Griffiths. Big surprise. Plaintiffs are entitled to recover damages for the loss they have sustained as the result of Griffiths' breach of the agreement, and also attorney's fees and costs incurred in pursuing this claim. So it's wild, right? Like if she took $58,000 out of the business, doesn't 25, 26, 20, doesn't like half of that, $29,000 of that rightfully belong to Susan Pruitt, right? Like I would love to know how they settled this. So breach of fiduciary duty. Griffith has breached her fiduciary duties to plaintiffs by misuse of funds meant for the enhancement and development of the website and company purpose. All such conduct by Griffith constitutes a breach of her fiduciary duty to Pruitt and the company. Plaintiffs are entitled to recovery for actual damages resulting from the breach of fiduciary duty by Griffith, and also for recovery of punitive damages. Sorry, I've been a lot of talking. Attorney's fees. The actions of Griffith have made it necessary for plaintiffs to retain the undersigned attorneys to file this suit pursuant to section blah, blah, blah of Texas blah, blah, and the terms of the applicable agreement. Plaintiffs are entitled to recovery of all reasonable attorney's fees and litigation costs incurred in the prosecution and trial of this case, and also in any appeal of this action. Man, and there's a lot of documents in this, so like she probably had some pretty good fees. But I'm dying to know how this was all settled. Paragraph 6 or Section 6, request for disclosure. Under Texas R. Civ P 194, plaintiffs request that defendant disclose within 50 days of service of this request the information or material described in Rule 194.2, the response, and all documents should be produced to the undersigned attorney, blah, blah, blah. Conclusion and prayer. I like that, Section 7. Because, yeah, you're going to need a prayer. If you're going to try to pin down little slimy Trish. As already stated, the actions of defendant Griffith, have already caused serious and irreparable harm to the plaintiffs. If Griffiths wrongful acts in violation of the express rights of plaintiffs continue unabated during the pendency of this action, the business interests and rights of plaintiffs will be irreparably lost, and Griffith will have succeeded in absconding with the business interests and assets that belong to the plaintiffs. Wow. if they continue unabated during the pendency of this action. Wow, okay. Wherefore, premises considered, plaintiffs pray that defendant Tricia Griffith, somebody tell me what that means. That defendant Tricia Griffiths be cited to appear herein, and that judgment be entered against defendant and in favor of plaintiffs, awarding them the following: the entire amount of the actual damages, punitive damages, pre-judgment and post-judgment interest, cost of courts, reasonable and necessary attorney's fees. The plaintiffs be granted such other and further relief, special or general at law or in equity to which they are shown to be entitled. Yeah, so that's the original. That's the original one. And then I got a little bit of time. I thought we would just look at one of the there's all these there's a bunch of exhibits that are okay, well, this is a great example of Tricia and her begging, dry begging, asking for money. Oh, I'm just having all these problems. I have so many problems. I can't figure it out. I got to figure this out. This is what I can't figure out. I can't figure out why does the little machine with the little thingy, why does it keep taking all my money, but it doesn't give me any money back? I can't understand it. I gotta figure this out, you guys. Okay. So, yeah, this is an email between, this is from Tricia. Tricia Griffith to Websleuths manager at AOL. So, yeah, Sue. Okay, so this is to Sue Pruitt. So they Sue bought the business in May. It's now July of 2011. May of 2011, now it's July of 2011. It's at 11:40 p.m. And Tricia is emailing. She's got some stuff to say. So she says, Sue, I'm there. Everyone has their breaking point, and this is mine. I finally got my computer back. All my email is gone. When I turned it on, the screen was blank except for a cursor. I let it sit there with a cursor for over an hour, thinking something would happen. Nothing. It was not making noise like it was working. I kept rebooting it and hit some weird-ass line that said stop installation. At least that got it to go to Windows so I could use the damn thing. She's having a bad day. It's nearly midnight, and she has been having a bad day. I called Geek Squad, the people who did this, and they refused to help me over the phone, let alone come out. Oh, my God. She's dissing on Geek Squad. It's their fault. They broke her computer, and then they wouldn't even help her. It's not her fault, people. It's literally 99 in my house. That's cool. It was like 102 this afternoon. No air conditioning, of course, and I have to do 2 full round trips tomorrow to Salt Lake and back. Can you imagine 2 months into your business, your new business venture, and this is your partner emailing you at midnight about this? Oh my God. Oh my God. She must have just been going, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I do have air in the car, thank God. The bed on my tires is splitting apart. Minimum of $800 to get new tires. The tap in my kitchen is broken. My dishes are piling up. Just got my bathroom sink fixed. My shower has the worst mold I can't get rid of. On and on and on and on. I gotta figure this stuff out. I can't figure it out. You have to clean the bathtub. You have to like spray cleaner stuff on it. You go to the grocery store. Yes, but there's an aisle that has other stuff other than groceries, and you go in that aisle and you get yourself some bathroom cleaner and you spray it on there, and then you clean it. You clean the mold. I can't figure this out. It's not about money. It's about I just can't take this anymore, Sue. I am so hot and miserable. I can't catch a break. The email just finally pushed me to my breaking point. I need to make a change. I can't go on. Not like this. I swear to God, I would rather be sleeping in a park with no worries about all this shit than live in this pit with problem after 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 problem. It never fucking ends. Never. She literally, she wrote that. That was not me exaggerating her nonsense. That was her actual nonsense. It's hard for anyone to understand unless you are here. You don't understand. You guys, you don't understand. You don't understand. This is Sarah Boone. She's channeling Sarah Boone. Nobody ever understands these people. It's hard for anyone to understand unless you're here. It's total isolation. Hell, I drove myself to the hospital and back. No one was here to help. To the hospital? What for? Oh, is that just a little... Now she wants people to ask her why she was at the hospital? Please deal with Websleuths this weekend like you have been all week. I can't sit here anymore. It's too fucking hot and there was no end in sight. I thought James was supposed to get things going and he hasn't. Not only do I have all this shit, but my bills will not be paid next month or the month after or the month after or the month after because I don't know what the fuck that guy is doing. Right? This is why I have to steal money from her company. She's just laying the foundation for why she's going to be thieving like a little thief. And this has been the huge money-sucking vacuum for you. That's not right. It wasn't supposed to be like that. You need to see a return, but nothing is happening. Ugh, God. But what I am saying, it never ends. If it was one thing or even two, I would be fine. But I have just given you the bare bones info. There is much more, but you get the picture. I must have been Hitler in another life because her suffering is so great, right? Her suffering is so great that she must be paying for the sin of the Holocaust. She sure is victim-centered, that Tricia. My goodness. Sue, I'm just really down. Things were looking up, and now I spent all your money, and it doesn't look good anymore. Okay, she didn't say that. That's me. Now it's right back to where it was, which is basically I spent all your money, and now I need more. The only difference is, and it's a big and wonderful difference, is you are on board. You are the only reliable person in my life. Oh, that's interesting because, you know, when she starts talking about Beth B, she has got people. She is not alone. These people don't realize how many people she's got. You are the only reliable person in my life. Websleuths is so lucky to have you on board because relying on me is not a good thing. Hell, I can't even get my dishes done anymore. I'm going to bed. Glad we made the deal that we can vent to each other. Good night. Yeah. Oh, so this, I guess, came earlier. Hang on. Oh, no, this is August. Now, this is another one. It's also from Tricia Griffith to Susan Pruitt. Sue, $300, a little something. Oh my God, that is not a little something. That is a huge something. So clearly, Sue has sent her money. Thank you so much. I was so worried that by the time Sunday rolled around, for some reason, I wouldn't have the $25 in my account for the toll-free minutes. I was going to worry about not having any money for anything else on Monday. Like I said, I'm okay for food because the little store, it's like a 7-Eleven, but with a lot of food choices, but with a lot less food choices on the corner gives me credit. So I know Will and I won't starve. Our dinners when we have to use the store for food are usually a big bland. I think she means a bit. Cheese quesadillas, grilled cheese, bologna sandwiches, bacon and eggs. But hey, it still tastes really good. Oh God, this is such a relief. Thank you so much. I promise I won't call you and cry, but I am blubbering now. Tricia, oh my God. Oh my God, I promise I won't cry. So she does that a lot in these lives and in her field trips, where she's like, when she starts talking about Daphne, and she like says like, I promised myself that I wouldn't cry, and there's never any single hint at all of any kind that she's going to cry. Like nothing at all. Yeah, so anyway, I think I feel like I've probably bored you all to death with all this reading and talking. So thank you for hanging out. It looks like a couple of you withstood my nonsense. Yeah, I wish she had taken down those videos, because they really are, they're incredibly revealing. And it's hard to anyway, I'm tired. I'm going to say good night, and thank you for listening to me. I'm sure it got boring and many people went away, but I wanted to get through that field trip video because of just how insanely absurd it was. I would very heartily recommend that you go watch the video on Jolene's channel if you haven't, because there is nothing quite like it. I think I did. I think I put the link to the video in the. Yes, I did. I put the link in the description to the video. So go see Jolene Lunger's video of the field trip, and also, oh, I thought I had her. Anyway, yeah, you can find her channel obviously if you go to that video. I thought I had her channel link saved on my little clipboard, but I just went to post it and it's not posting, so I'm too tired to figure that out now. So I'm just going to post this for one more second. Be me out, Scotty, be me. Thanks, Betty McBatface. Jolene is very good. I have to say, I had not listened to a lot of her content before this. She often does really long stuff, and I don't always listen to the really long stuff, but I've been listening to her specifically for this content, and I am very impressed by her content. She's obviously very intelligent, and she's really funny. She's very quick. She sees through all this stuff like nobody's business, and she's entertaining as hell, She's entertaining as hell. I was listening to her today while I was out walking the dog. Yeah, she gave me a shout out today. I was there when she did that. And she sent people over the other day from her channel at the end of her live, so that was very exciting. So yeah, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Boss Lady, for your support as usual. Appreciate you. And I will look forward, I love you and leave you. And I will look forward to seeing everybody next time. There is a lot more to come with this Tricia story. So have a good night. Good night, everybody.